Happy New Year, everybody. While over the Christmas break, I had all my eBay stuff come in. I was going to order like a whole kit, but realized I only need certain fittings and I don't need a whole kit where you get 45s, 90s, straights, some hoses. Some of the hoses weren't long enough for what I was planning on doing here, so let me update you on what I've got going. This is all my AC stuff. This is the cheapest condenser I could find, cross flow, inlets and outlets. I ordered the pieces off of eBay from one company because I just needed two 90s. I needed my high pressure and low pressure fittings for my compressor fittings, which I already had. So I had to make sure I got the right sizes. Remember, these are all 8, 10, and 6. So let's say this is a 10. This is an 8. This is a 6, high pressure side. This is a 6. I got hose by the foot, but I think I might need, and some extra. You know, like this was left over from my CUDA. But this is the plan. Okay, so the big piece that came off of the evaporator over there used to come over like this. That's this piece. And on the CUDA, I had a fitting like this. I went to a hose company and they just brazed a fitting like that onto my original piece here. But then now the hose is married. Let me show you that real quick, just so you know what I'm talking about. This is the CUDA. The hose is married to that piece now, where it's all one section, and I've got that hose. Man, it's about, let's see, that's about 3 feet, 6 feet. I think it's about 10 feet. That goes all the way to that compressor. It's hidden down below. Then it comes up here. Then it goes into that fitting there. But this has worked great for, what, 6 years now? Never leaked after I changed the evaporator with a copper core evaporator. I think it was $150, but well worth it because my other aluminum ones were all leaking. But this is a factory line, but it ended here. The difference between the 70s and the 71s, 72 3/4s, I'll show you on the other car. The other line goes all the way over to here. So on this one, I put a fitting on here with a crimp on to the hose. The hose goes around, goes to the bottom of the condenser, and then this top line is my pressure line, where I've got my fitting to pressurize it or to add Freon, and it goes down to the compressor down there through those. Those are factory lines I bent over, and then I had some fittings put on the end of it. So in this case, with this convertible, I think I bought all the fittings I need. I chopped off the end of this after I cut the hose, and I found this fitting on eBay. Let me see if I can take that apart. Hold on, let me pause this for a minute. Or not pause it. Let's see if I can position this so you can see this. Maybe not. I don't have my little tripod, so let's see if I can just leave this here. Nope, hold on, let me pause this. Okay, this is what I did. First of all, I found this fitting on eBay. It's a number 10, and this looks like some kind of flare fitting over here on the inside, but I bought it for the size of this opening here, and I was lucky that it was a number 10, but it was a lot of searching on eBay. So then I trimmed this off. This was about another inch longer because there was a hose on here with a crimped on end, if you know what the factory one looks like. I don't know if that showed up on my other videos. But now I'm gonna I cut that down enough. I have to clean out the burrs. I cut that down enough where this outside here matches this thread to stay tight. So look, I put scratches on there to match the scratches on there. I can screw this on just a little bit, enough where it almost gets tight, and I can line that up so my square edge matches the fender. And now I'm going to braze this. I've got a set of welding torches here, and brass rod. I can braze that, and then now my number 10 hose is going to be removable with that fitting there. Okay, so also got this on eBay, less than $100. Full crimping tool for all the different sizes you might need, whether it's a reduced barrier hose or regular. See, that's for number 10, number 8, number 6. Everything I was paying for from this hot rod shop to crimp my hose ends on. If I bought the ends from them, they would crimp them on for free. But in my case here, everything is on eBay separate. And this guy here, I bought this number 6 as a male, or I don't know if they call that the male, and then this is the female. But it's going to go like this. It's going to fit on there. Then it's going to go straight down to a 90, which is going to go into here. And then the other end is going to come out, and then it's going to go back down this way and then go to the compressor. So that's the high pressure side. So then it's all going to hook back to this receiver dryer. I have a new one coming, and I have a new trinary switch coming, which this is just a low pressure factory switch, which disables the compressor if you drop below a certain poundage. But with the trinary switch, you've got your low cutout for low pressure PSI, then you've got a high pressure in this trinary switch that also shuts off if you over pressurize. You know, I can't remember the numbers, how many PSI it'll shut off your compressor. And then also, it has another wire that'll turn on my fans. It'll trigger my fan relay so that whenever the AC is on, it's going to send a ground signal to my fan control relay, which is also going to go in that thermostat I showed. So that trinary switch was on eBay. It's going to replace this switch here with the fitting. You can also buy trinary switches that screw onto your pressure ports, so it's removable, and the Schrader valve, you know, closes off when you unscrew your switch. But I just bought one that screws in with the 1/8 inch pipe thread like the factory one. So it's going to go right here with, there'll be 4 wires coming off. 1 to supply the compressor, 2 to supply the ground to the fan relay. Okay, so that's what's going on with this. Crimper, fittings, hoses, got everything on eBay. You got to have a torch set for brazing. You got to map out all your hoses and how you want to run them. Some guys use some nice steel lines and polished lines, but this is the factory line. And then I'm just going to have the black hose come across here like I do on the CUDA, and then just disappear down there. So I've got to mount this guy like I did on the CUDA. I use the factory brackets, and I rig something up down here to go to all these holes. And I rig something up down the bottom that captures the bottom of the condenser with a 7/16 headed nut. I think that's a 1/4 20 that goes through there, and that's what holds the bottom. And the same thing here, it's like a 1/4 20 thread that holds these, that held the old condenser. I could still use my old condenser if I wanted to, because it would match up to this, but it's not a cross flow, and that's what I had with the old compressor, and this was brand new and it was cheap. So you can go out to eBay, and I think this was a 26-inch width. It's going to fit this opening, and the depth, this is the same one I bought for the CUDA. So you just paint it black and it'll be hidden, and I'm going to mount it up here in front, make those mounts. But gonna go ahead and piece this together, get this mounted, and I wanted to talk about the circuit I showed for the fan relays, and I wasn't showing the diodes. These diodes are important because you've got a computerized system here, and these little coils are just like an ignition coil. When your contacts open up between the fan and your power, your inductor, your coil that's magnetizing your relay contacts to make those close, generate a spark when they release. So it's enough to shock you if your fingers are on it, but if you don't have something like a diode in there to clamp that flyback voltage to ground, it will fry something eventually, because that's all going back into your power system. Whether it makes it back to a computer or it's shorting internally at the coil to ground, that little flyback voltage has to go somewhere. So I put diodes in. Remember, you have to make sure it's pointing the right direction. So diodes are drawn like this. This little line is the stripe on your diode. It could be like a 1N, I think it's a 1004 diode, the little cheapest diodes you can get, hundreds of them for, $1 or $2. This little cathode, I think that's the cathode. That stripe has to face your 12 volts. And since I have the ground here going to the two relays connected together, remember, this is 12 on this side, 12 volts. This is 12 on this side. This diode has to face that way to clamp that voltage down. Okay, so I didn't draw those diodes in on my last video, but I'm gonna put this short video up there. Wish everybody a Happy New Year, and just send something up so I can let you guys get an update. These are my relays that I was talking about, the two big 60-70 amp relays. See, they say 70 on them. I already talked about those. Get those focused. I've got the wires drooped down because I'm going to run them down across the bottom. I've got my wires ready to go in there. Remember, I said I just take out the fat supply and wires that used to go to the fans, and I pull those out because they're the fat ones, and then I plug them into the connectors. Like I said, you buy these connectors. The fans already have the female side, unless you want to call that the male side, and you buy them by the pair, and then they're hollow like this, and then I use the pins out of those relays, the connectors, so I don't have to crimp on new connectors, and then those are the opposite side. These are the fan sides, so I just need, I guess, the male side, but it has the female connectors inside it. So I don't know what you call that, male or female, but this is an update. This was off the old area intake I bought. I chopped off the end here because it had a little bit of a curve that went like this, and I'm going to just try to put the filter on here. I know it's going to be sucking some hot air in because it's next to the radiator, but you can build some kind of little box to hold your air cleaner. I'm going to get a real K&N, and remember, you have this opening here you can take out to get to your camber bolts for front end adjustment. So that's a possible air intake there to a box if you build a box. And then I can also move the horns up in front here like the later models, just to get more space here to hold a box or some kind of enclosure and get the cold air from outside. Okay, so this is a quick update. Still haven't started yet because I'm working on all this little stuff, especially like the AC. Hope to get this on the Hot Rod Power Tour in June. We're doing the Route 66 100th anniversary, which is going right through my town out here. I've got a guy here cleaning up my yard. He's cutting, as you can see this, this is my backyard here, okay, for this carport. So I've got a big hill behind the house. He is cutting 12 feet behind this house of that hill, and he's taking that hill and moving it out here from my driveway, and he's also gonna stack some of that extra material back there because there's a big hill back there in case I ever build a shop. I just told him I want a paint booth, and he might even have a free paint booth for me if I disassemble it. But yeah, all my yard, I've got 3 acres back here, maybe a full acre going that way, out that way. So I've got enough room to do anything I want back there. But quick update. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'm gonna get this AC put in and hopefully get this thing started soon. So quick update. Thanks guys.